Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have joined you from a disabled toilet in a shopping centre, and I quite often like to come in here sometimes when things are a bit loud or overwhelming outside. I mean, yes, to use the toilet, but also because it's a lot peaceful and more calmer in here than it is outside, which leads me on to the topic of this video, which is going to be all about autism and overstimulation. Also, why is there a shower head in here? That's so random. Who's going to go to the shower in a shopping centre? So, what is overstimulation, you say? Oh gosh, it's very echoey in here. Well, overstimulation is when an autistic person inputs too much sensory input that it can get overwhelming and too much to cope with. Sensory inputs such as loud noises, strong smells, the feel of different textures, tastes, being touched, various different things. Sensory-wise, like visual overstimulation. And this can not be good for autistic people, especially when exposed to it for a prolonged period of time. I have a few autistic friends, and I know that some of them really struggle with going to busy places because of overstimulation. So I want to walk you down this high street today and explain to you all the things that can be overstimulating for an autistic person. So come and join me. And before I get into that part of the video, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe and ring the bell to receive notifications every time I upload a new video. And without further ado, I'm going to get out of this stairwell and onto the high street. Right, so immediately I've come out of the stairwell and I'm greeted by 3 giant posters in the wall, 4 posters down the side, and all that visual stimulation in the shop itself, which is very busy and can be quite tiring for an autistic person to look at, especially because they're processing so much. Also, something that can be difficult inside a shopping centre is all the noise, because it's very much contained. For example, you can hear a child screaming in the background, which can be quite painful for an autistic person that struggles with loud noises. Busy things like those posters and all of that stuff in the shop can feel quite overwhelming. Okay, so immediately as I walk out of the shopping centre, you've got more loud noises. You've also got, I don't know if you can see that over there, an electric advert, like a moving advert. So, and like on the bus stops as well, they have moving adverts. For example, those ones in the shops inside, yes, they may have been static and old-fashioned. They were quite busy. Autistic people can often struggle with electronic adverts that are constantly moving all the time because they can be quite fast. They can have a lot of information. They might have flashing lights on them that some autistic people might struggle with, and it can get quite overstimulating having so many adverts around everywhere, especially that keep moving so fast to the point where you don't have time to process what's on the slide before it moves to the next one. There's another example. You've got an open sign that keeps flashing. Now, for an autistic person, sometimes lights, when they're flashing, can really jump out of them at them and be quite overstimulating. So things that are more static or soft moving can be really helpful for an autistic person. I mean, for example, look at all those adverts on that shop. That's just so much information to take in all at once. It can feel quite busy, and sometimes, for me personally, when things are quite busy and overwhelming, it can make me feel a bit sick looking at it. That's sort of a side effect I have from overstimulation, is often feeling sick. So now we're moving to a part where the pavement narrows. You've got seating outside from a cafe, which ordinarily I find really nice. It's nice to have some fresh air and sit outside, but you get the smell of the smoke from people smoking, which I can't stand, but it wafts towards you because they're outside. You've also got the fact that when it gets really busy, you have no space and you find you're bashing into people. And for some autistic people that don't like to be touched, one bash leading to another bash leading to bumping into someone else can really overwhelm them and exhaust them. So that can be really tricky as well.
No, I'm not going to overfeed her, but no, it's...
One thing I will say that I do like about this high street, certainly not the smell of smoke, is how they try to incorporate nature and green spaces into the high street. For example, they've got like a nice table area and green, although it's fake. It's pretty with the flowers and stuff. The only thing I would say is it's kind of pointless because it's right next to a main road where you're going to hear the cars, the drilling of roadworks being done, which again can all feel quite overwhelming for an autistic person. Oh, now they stop. Just as I'm about to film it, now they stop. Honestly. One thing I also really struggle with is cars beeping their horns, sirens going off, things that really are uncontrollable or out of your control, that are also unpredictable because you don't know if or when it's going to happen. And obviously being on a busy high street, you're surrounded by cars and buses and ambulances that might go through, or police cars, and that can be visually and audibly overwhelming as well. If that's even a word, audibly overwhelming, I don't know. I may have just made that up, but there we go. I will quite often be seen walking down the high street wearing my headphones, and a car beeped their horn, which made me jump. The reason being is all of these noises on top of each other can get quite overwhelming, and having a nice sound in my ears that brings me joy can really help to take my focus away from the sensory overwhelm that I might be feeling, and put it on something that actually helps to calm me and bring me joy and stuff. So yeah. I'm yet to find a good example of a shop that I can show you that isn't visually overstimulating. Which is sad really, because so many autistic people end up housebound or not feeling able to go to these places because they get so overwhelmed by the busyness of it. And not just the busyness of people, but the busyness of life and society and shops, and just how everything is these days, because I'm always reminded by my friends that years and years ago it never used to be as busy as this, and it can be quite difficult for an autistic person to adapt to those differences. I mean, even in my favourite coffee shop, they now have, rather than cardboard displays with their menus written out on it, they now have electronic displays that constantly show a new video every 10 seconds, and that can be quite distracting for me. If I'm trying to make a conversation with someone, I may get distracted by the video, but also I don't like the fact how it does the 10 seconds and then it immediately starts again and it keeps jumping, and that can be quite overwhelming for an autistic person too. I also I really can't stand the smell of nail bars, and I always think, why on earth does one high street need 5 nail bars? Really annoys me. But they're clearly in demand if they need 5 of them. Anyway, that was an experience. Walking down the high street with me, an autistic person, to see what it's like for a lot of us on a daily basis. I hope that's given you a bit more insight into life for an autistic person. It's something that we have to deal with every day, and a lot of people will just avoid it because they don't want to feel overwhelmed or go into a shutdown or a meltdown because of feeling overstimulated, which is really sad. However, there are some things we can think about when it comes to supporting more autistic people to be able to get out into these places, and I want to just name a couple of them. 1, think about what is necessary information and what is not necessary information. For example, do you need 5 giant posters on your window displaying different things when they will walk in and see those things when they get the menu? For example, do you need posters to be automatic or have flashing lights? Could they not be made static or just paper ones? What's wrong with a good old-fashioned paper poster in the window? For example, if you're in a restaurant or a cafe, could the music be turned down so that you can actually hear yourself think and have a proper conversation without getting overwhelmed by the loud music that's going on behind you, half of which you may not even like? And could you also think about ways you can still keep the customers and the revenue in, but making it less busy? Maybe having less things on the shelf, having less tables in your cafe, just making signs easier to navigate shop aisles. Different things can really just help to support autistic people feel more accepted and included in society. So I hope you really enjoyed this video and found it useful. I actually had no idea today what I was going to do for a video, and I'm aware I didn't get one out last week, and I'm really sorry for that. Time just got away from me and I was absolutely exhausted from a really busy week. And I'm learning to not push myself and overdo it for the sake of others. So hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe and ring the bell to receive notifications every time I upload a new video. And I hope you could hear me clearly on this video, because I'm using some new microphones that I got. I'm so excited, and I wanted to film some stuff outside, and now I can because I've got these microphones. So let me know what you think. But anyway, I'll see you next week in my next video. Hope you all have a good week, and I'll catch you later.